I'm gonna show to you, my fellow chessers, the chess game between Magnus Carlsen and Alireza Firouzja in ESPORTS World Cup 2025 Finals Chess Set to Game 1. Hello, my fellow chessers! So let's begin, my fellow chessers. So let's begin on d4, d5, g3, knight f6, bishop g2, c5, knight f3, c takes d4, castles kingside, h6, b3, h5, c3 mistake of Alireza Firouzja. There was continuation on this position, my fellow contestants, is c4, c4, queen takes d4, or h4, my fellow contestants. All right, so this is the best continuation, my fellow contestants. So let's continue the game, my fellow contestants. c3, knight c6, c takes d4, bishop f5. Wow, knight c3 attacking the pawn on d5, e6, bishop g5. Wow, attacking the knight. Bishop e7, knight h4, attacking the bishop on f5, my fellow contestants. So this is what? This is, wait, this is Catalan variation, pseudo Catalan variation, my fellow contestants. So let's continue the game, my fellow contestants. Bishop h7, very good move. e3, rook c8, knight c4, knight g4. Wow. Bishop takes e7, queen takes e7, rook c1, castles kingside, knight f3, knight f6, mistake of Magnus Carlsen. The best continuation on this position is knight b4, go here, or queen a3, or this is the mistake. This is the best continuation. So let's continue the real game, my fellow chessers. All right. Knight f6, knight g4, bishop f5. Wow. Queen d2, rook c7, knight c5, rook f c8. Wow. Battery, my fellow chessers, as you can see. Rook c3, knight b4, attacking the pawn here on a2, a3 attacking the knight on b4, knight a6 attacking the knight on c5, my fellow chessers. All right, b4, b6 attacking the knight on c5 again, my fellow chessers. Knight a4. Why Alireza Firouzja didn't take the knight on a6? So let's try. Knight takes a6. We have rook takes c3 and knight c5. Back at it again. H3, my fellow catchers. As you can see the evaluation bar here. Black is winning, my fellow catchers. All right. So let's go back to the real game, my fellow catchers. So it's the knight a4. Queen d7, good move. Rook takes c7. Queen takes c7. b5, attacking the knight on a6, my fellow chessers. Knight b8, preparing for go here. Knight bd7, something like that. Queen b4, mistake of Alireza Firouzja. The best continuation on this position is rook a1, or knight b1, knight b2, or rook e1. The best continuation is rook a1 or rook e1. Alright, so let's go back to the real game, my fellow chessers. Queen b4, knight bd7. What's the idea? Go here, something like that, or development at the same time, my fellow chessers. Alright. f3. Mistake of Alireza Firouzja. The best continuation on this position is knight b2, or h3, or rook e1. This is the best continuation, my fellow chessers. That is the best stop. The best stop. The best stop. Anyway, f3, bishop d3, attacking the rook on f1, rook e1. Knight f7, mistake of Magnus Carlsen. The best continuation on this position is queen c2. All right, queen c2, knight at 7, or bishop g6, my fellow chessers. So let's continue the real game, my fellow chessers. Bishop, knight to f8, knight to b2, attacking the bishop on d3, my fellow chessers. All right, bishop g6, bishop f1. What's the idea? To go here, something like that. Queen c2, attacking the knight on b2, my fellow chessers. All right, knight d1, knight h7, or knight 8 h7, mistake of Magnus Carlsen. The best continuation on this position is queen to f5 is the best, the top engine move, or bishop d3, or queen a2, my fellow chessers. All right, the best is queen f5. All right, so let's go back to the real game, my fellow chessers, which is knight 8 h7, attacking the knight on g5, knight h3, bishop f5, attacking the knight on h3, knight d f1, mistake of Alireza Firouzja. The best continuation on this position is knight h f2, or queen to e7, or a4, my fellow chessers. All right, so let's continue the real game, my fellow chessers, which is knight d f2, mistake, g5, e4, attacking the bishop on f5, my fellow chessers. D takes e4, 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 f takes e4, knight e4, mistake of Magnus Carlsen. The best continuation on this position is bishop takes h3 is the best move, bishop g6, or bishop g4. This is the best continuation, bishop takes h3. All right, so let's continue the real game, my fellow chessers, which is knight takes e4, rook e1, attacking the queen on c2, knight takes f2, rook takes c2. Why? Sacrificing the knight, the queen. All right, after rook c2, knight takes h3, bishop takes h3, bishop takes c2, mistake of Magnus Carlsen. The best continuation on this position is rook takes c2. I'll capture the rook using this rook on c8, my fellow chessers. All right, so let's continue the real game, my fellow chessers, which is bishop takes c2, d5, g4, bishop g2, mistake of Alireza Firouzja. The best continuation on this position is d6, based on computer engine g6, or bishop takes g4. Wow, sacrifice. Anyway, bishop g2, e takes d5, e takes d5, bishop takes d5, knight f7, mistake of Magnus Carlsen. The best continuation on this position is rook c5, attack this bishop on d5, or rook to e8, or rook to d8, attack this side. So let's continue the real game, my fellow chessers. Knight f6, attacking the bishop on d5, my fellow chessers. All right, bishop c6, king g7, queen e7, a5, queen b7, attacking the rook at the same time this pawn. So you can see the evaluation bar here. White is winning, my fellow chessers. So let's continue the game. Queen takes b6, rook d1, king f2, rook d2, king e3, rook takes h2, king c5, h4, b6, h takes g3, b7, g2, bishop takes g2, rook takes g2, b8 equals queen, my fellow chessers, rook g3 check, rook takes g3, bishop g6, queen e5, after queen e5 or queen c e5. Magnus Carlsen resigned the game. Why? As you can see, my fellow chessers, Alireza Firouzja have taken my fellow chessers. Big advantage, my fellow chessers. To God be all the glory. Praise Lord Jesus Christ.